Hi, crafters, and welcome to Finish It Friday, episode 197. So here's where we left off on Wednesday. We have our card base. This is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. We have our cardstock. This is the two-tone design, two-tone cardstock from Stampin' Up. This is 5.5 by 1.5. We have some designer series paper that is 5.5 by 1. We have some cardstock. This is this is not Flirty Flamingo. I'm not sure. It's from my scrap pile, but this is 3 by 3. And then we have this cardstock that is 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. So for today's background, because I showed you how we were going to kind of put it together. And let me grab out my Stampin' Seal, because we know that this is going to go on that other strip. I'm going to use, I don't know if you can see it over here, but I'm using the edge of this so I know that this strip, let me get up a little bit more. I'm using the edge of this so I know that this strip goes straight to the edge. And I'm looking to see that I like that. I might have a little bit over the edge. Let me grab an old pair of Fiskars scissors and just kind of take that off so that's even. And then we're going to layer this. I'm going to figure out what I want to put on here, though. I'm not really sure. I feel like I want to do my Flowers Fair in a very light color and then do the words on top. So let's think about that, all right? But for my background, I'm going to use a piece of, this is just packaging from something I got. And I'm just trying to get some ink on it, take some of it off, and just make a little bit of a background. Just to break up that white. I got a little dark there, but we're going to be covering that up, so I'm not very worried about that. All right, so we got a little bit of a background there. That way, let me put this over here in the wastebasket because you don't want to pick that up with your hands. We're going to have this go across like this, so we're going to have this go right across that middle. Let's figure out, though, what we want to do with this. Like I said, I think I want to do a flower flare. So what I'm going to do is I am going to leave it on the backing. I am going to ink it up with my same spot. Now this is going to be full strength, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. All right, so I've got that. But now I'm going to take my blending brush and I'm just going to kind of lightly tap some of that off so it's a little bit lighter. Now there will be some residual pink that might get on this from the brush itself. All right, so let's go down. We're going to do diagonal, so let's try it this way and see how it turns out. Hopefully it's not too dark. Hopefully I took off enough. We will see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So it's dark enough that you can see the imprint, but it's not so dark that we're not going to be able to see our words on top of it. Now, and that was Flowers Fair. Of course, I didn't look to see if it's still available, but it was last week. All right. And then you'll see on my examples, I am using this Forever Florals. The words for all of my cards. And I think, let me grab my Stampin' Positioner. I want to get this really dark. So I think I'm going to put this in the corner, but we know we're going to angle it. And we're going to angle it that way. So we'll keep that in the corner. Let's grab out. I think I'm going to use the Always and Forever. It is a really good size, and I think it's going to cover up a lot of that area. Now I'm going to do it a little more flush to the top, because I'm going to put some jewels 3 across underneath it. So let's go ahead and go like that. Okay. I really hesitate putting any magnets on this because it's so close to where I'm stamping. Now, the stamps are higher than the magnets themselves, so that shouldn't be a problem. It's just me worried. So let's go ahead, pick this up, keep that back in the corner. Of course, we're going to use our Secret C. That is what I consider the new black, since we don't have Memento anymore. Well, it's still out there in the market. It's the granddaddy, the grandfather, the OG, pretty much, of black's ink for watercoloring, for using any sort of wet medium. Oh, I think that's dark enough. Do I dare? All right. Against my better judgment, I'm going to do another inking just to get it a little bit darker. The thing is, if this gets off just slightly, you're going to notice because it's so scripty and thin. I'm going to hold it down for just a little bit. Get all that good Secret C ink into the paper. It's a little shadowy, but I don't mind that. That's kind of fascinating to look at. Let me show you. See how it's a little bit shadowy? I'm not really mad at it. I'll be fine with it. Okay, so let me go ahead, put this back in my, oops, sorry. Putting this back in my holder. So let's go ahead and put all these away in a little bit. Sorry, I just like cleaning up a little bit of my area. Let's go like this. Remember, if it looks good on 3 of the 4 sides, your 4th side, if you've cut it correctly, will match up. Let's bring our base card back in. We know this is going to be there. So let's get some. Now I want to use my green glue, my multi-purpose glue. I have to fill it. It's getting pretty low. Guess I should have tested that before I came over, huh? Here it comes out. So I'm just going to let that sit for just a little while, just so it won't squish out from underneath. I'm also going to do this, so it's going to be a little bit tacky. And I'm just going to ask, because I had a few offline questions. Do you like it better that I took that Fiskars mat from underneath there? Some people were saying it was confusing to have both sets of numbers showing through. So I did take that mat out. So let me know if you think that it looks better that way. All right, so what I'm going to do now is, most likely it's going to be right down the middle here with the triangle. I don't think it'll be off any. Let's just kind of lay it non-glue side. Yep, looks good. It's lined up with the 0 up there. So let's go ahead. And I'm going to bring it over here before it really gets set, and just make sure that it's against that edge. We'll put our, you're pretty safe when you're doing the triangle if you keep your outer layer at 3 inches or less. It'll usually fit on your card okay. All right, let's grab out, let me see. Oh, I have some of these left. The antique pearls that I covered with the Blackberry Bliss. I think that's going to look great because it's going to kind of highlight that little border. I'm going to put that right in the flower circle. I don't want it to be too matchy-matchy. Let's see, but I feel like I have to put it right there because it felt like there was a lot of empty space. And maybe my Always and Forever wasn't completely lined up correctly, but I find it okay enough for my project. All right, so there we have our card, using that plastic bag for that background and using these parameters to fill out the rest of that card. Let me show you what else I've created. All right, now these I just did on a card panel. So here I layered the 2 strips together. You can see that under there. Just had a little bit showing. I used some of that paper, the background that we did when we did the bubble technique with the dish soap on one of my household item videos. And then I used, because this was so stark white, I took my long Post-it note and used the brush and kind of moved it over to make a little bit of a fading background. Can you see that? All right. And that probably could use some jewels too, but I didn't for now. Here, I took everything down to strips. So this is the 1.5 inch pieces cut into 1/2 inch strips. This is the 1 inch piece cut into 1/2 inch strips. And then this was a 3 by 3, which I cut in half. And then oh, I'm sorry, I'm spacing out here. So this is approximately 3/4 of an inch. Do you see that? So I cut the square first in half and then in half again. So I had 4 that were 3/4 of an inch by 3. And I lined them up. You can see where the little break is here. But I lined them up, cut off a little extra. And then because of this bubble background, I went ahead and I tore the 2 7/8 by 2 7/8 square a little bit, edged it, and put my greeting on it. So there's that one. All right. I hope you liked this. Go ahead and give me that thumbs up if you don't mind. Share on your social media platforms. Subscribe if you haven't already. Most of all, have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.